How was the scrimmage today from an offensive perspective?
You know, we moved the ball. We sustained some good drives. We were able to score some points in the red zone. Still too many penalties. Some things we got to clean up. You know, guys being off for a day, getting acclimated to class. Thought we did some things that were a little bit uncharacteristic, but those were all correctable. But overall, it was good competition. Split it up, and you know, guys were getting to go against guys that they may not have gotten to go against all camp. But overall, pretty good.
How was the ball security during the scrimmage?
Ball security's been pretty good. Not many balls in terms of fumbling on the ground. We did have one interception there at the end. That was the only turnover of the day, but overall, I've been pleased with the ball security.
Did the receivers drop many passes or catch most everything?
You know, there was one that I wish they would have came up with down there here in the red zone for a touchdown, but we were able to come back after that and drive and still convert for a touchdown. That was the one that I remember the most. Overall, those guys have made a lot of plays. They've caught a lot of balls, and again, it was an opportunity to get a bunch of guys a lot of work today, being that this is the last scrimmage.
What was the biggest improvement you saw from the last scrimmage to this scrimmage?
You know, just the consistency in being able to run the ball. That's something that we've been harping on, and you're continuing to see the good work up front. Guys are targeting well, being able to be consistent running the ball. You know, it was tough because of the mix-up with the guys up front, not quite as consistent in protection. You know, I thought we gave up a couple of shots potentially on the quarterback. We'll get that cleaned up, but overall, really pleased with the running game. And again, the chemistry starting to come along, and that usually takes a little bit longer in the passing game than it does in the run game.
Coach Sweeney told us that Tavian's still kind of learning to go to that fifth gear, but he actually does really well with letting his box set up and so forth, a little bit better than CJ did when he came in as a freshman. Are you seeing him kind of learn to take it to that next level?
You know, he's really been challenged. You know, early on in camp, you know, he was running the football like he didn't want to get hit. Now you're starting to see him be the aggressor. And one thing that we pride ourselves in our room is, you know, we accelerate to the contact, and that's something that he had to learn. You know, he's always been a guy that's faster than everybody, and he can run around a lot of blocks, and sometimes he didn't have to set up blocks because he could outrun everybody. But at this level, he learned it really quickly. He broke one and he got ran down because he didn't use proper technique, and he thought that he was just going to run away from everybody. But you're starting to see over the last two practices, he's starting to hit the hole with some confidence. He's got his pads down, and he's learning that it's a lot easier on my body when I accelerate to the contact as opposed to slow down and let those guys hit me.
Coach Scott mentioned after the last scrimmage that Adam was starting to separate himself a little bit at running back. He had a great scrimmage last time. How did he follow that up today?
He did well, and again, it was more of a situational, so the carries might not have been as distributed as the last scrimmage, but he did pop a good run down in the red zone. He looks very confident running the ball. He's starting to understand and see it and feel it. His just biggest areas of improvement is he wants to in pass protection. It's just creating that muscle memory to bring the technique. He understands exactly who he has to fit. It's just that confidence, like we say in our room, of putting that face in the fan.
We obviously know we're going to get a Deshaun. What did you see out of the two backup QBs today?
You know, I thought Nick did a good job of managing the situations. He had, in the beginning of the scrimmage, a good opening drive. He led a really good 2-minute drill down for a touchdown. So very pleased with him. You know, Kelly continues to make progress. You're starting to see more snap decisions, getting the ball in the right spot, starting to throw a little bit more accuracy. So I thought they both did well. We'll look at the tape and determine kind of where we go from here.
I know you guys are comfortable going into the season without naming a backup QB, but are either one of them kind of starting to separate themselves at all?
You know, we'll have to use this last scrimmage to determine that.
How's Hunter Renfro doing? Is he about 100% back to?
He looks well. He's moving around, playing fast. Hasn't quite had as many opportunities because he was down for a couple of days in camp, but he looks like he's moving well.
How did Zarek do today?
Zarek? You know, he got in there, didn't quite have as many reps as Kelly and Nick did, but he looked fine. Still just has to understand the complete system. We do a lot of things that are on the quarterback, managing the motions, doing all those things, and just being consistent. There are things for him, but in terms of his moxie, he's got a moxie to him. He's got a coolness to him. He doesn't, you know, he looks very calm under pressure. It's just as camp continues to go on, as you continue to add installation, it just piles up on him a little bit.
How's Falcinelli improving at that backup center spot?
You know, the days that Jay was out early in camp really helped Falcinelli. You're starting to see a lot of confidence. There's no question that he's very capable of doing it. He just doesn't quite have the experience that Jay does. When Jay gets in there, Jay is confident. You know, he knows how to direct traffic, and you saw a lot more of that. And again, he has some great opportunities really to challenge himself in the running game, and that's probably the toughest because as a center, you got to know what everybody's doing to direct traffic, and you're starting to see him call out assignments for the other guys just to make sure that they're aware of what's going on in that box.
how is Gage doing with the transition? Davo said he looked like a pig in mud on the offensive line.
Well, I tell you what, now when he gets his hands on them, they're not going anywhere, and he's going to move those guys out of there. The big thing is just, understanding our terminology. It's a completely different language from the other side of the ball. There's a lot more working together up front, double teams and things like that, and just getting used to that. But when he gets headed in the right direction, he knows what to do with them once he gets his hands on them.
Do you feel like you got enough out of these limited scrimmages? It's valuation point now, and you don't get another one of these. Wish you had one more?
You always wish you had one more as a coach, but we've got a lot of work. Coach Sweeney does a great job of creating all the situations so that you can see the guys under pressure. So I believe that we got enough information to make decisions and go forward. But again, everybody's got to be ready. That could change. As you get closer to a game, you're always one injury away. So even though you may make some decisions today, you still have to have those guys ready to play in case an injury does come up later in the season.
Who were you especially pleased with today? You might stand up.
Today, I thought Nick did a really good job. I said that earlier. He came out and had a good long drive down the field. Did a good job in 2 minutes. Choice continued to find some runs. Popped a good one there in the red zone for a touchdown. Ray made some plays. Mylan Richard, had a really, really good scrimmage. He made some really, really good contested plays, which I think he needed to help him with his confidence to be that guy that could spell Leggett.
Everything about healthy after this?
As far as I know, don't remember anything from the scrimmage. But again, it's a physical day, but nothing I remember.
Who's stepping up in that punt returner role right now? Are there guys who are kind of standing out in that area?
We feel like we got some of the best candidates back there in the country between Artavis and Ray, and then also as Hunter Renfro. And we had an opportunity to really emphasize punt return today. We'll go look at the film. I'm up in the box kind of watching on the front line, so I didn't get to see as much of what they did on the back end. But all those guys look confident catching the ball. Don't remember anything had to be any issues on the back end. But any one of those three guys can go out there, as long as the biggest challenge for us is to help them up front and challenge the guys on the front line. And my guys in particular, getting my running backs on that punt return team and taking ownership of special teams, because it's on us all. It's not just one man, it's not just one unit. It's every player in our program that has to take ownership. Wayne Gallman, putting him out there on punt return, putting C.J. Fuller out there on punt return, because those guys are used to blocking in space and being physical at the point of attack. And if we can do our job up front on that front line, then we got some of the most dynamic guys on the back end that can make things happen. And that's been a big point of emphasis this fall camp.
What does Hunter bring in that punt returner role? What are his strengths that help him there?
You can count on Hunter. He's going to be very, very consistent with his ball security, catching the ball, and he can lull some people to sleep, because if you give him a crack, he can put his foot in the ground and he can separate. So hopefully guys are going to sleep on him if they see him back there. Oh, he's just a possession guy, but he's more than a possession guy. But you have the quality possession guy with the ability, just like Humphreys. Nobody expected Humphreys to take one to the house versus Louisville here to actually help us win that game.
You combine Hunter being back there with you guys having so few returns previous years. People kind of think you guys have the approach of, okay, let's just catch it and give it to our offense.
Right. The game's really changed in the return aspects with the new rules on kickoff coverage, kickoff return. You got to make a decision. You get the ball in the 25. How deep do you want to bring it out? And those guys are closer to you, so they're on you faster. And kickoff return, the front line is probably one of the hardest things to do outside of being a guard on the field goal block team who's going to get bull rushed by 3 people every time. And the same thing in punt return. With the spread out shields, you got more gunners. And the big thing in the punting game is just hold the ball as long as you can, get the ball down the field, have guys in the running lane so that you don't get returns. So, we're trying to challenge our guys to, hey, let's go lead the country, let's go be one of the best. If we'll hold up front, if we'll do a better job, we got dynamic guys, so it's not a situation where we're just looking to possess the ball.
Who are some of the freshmen you feel confident will play at Auburn?
At Auburn, that's a tough thing to say right now, but I know the guys that have been impressive, and you probably heard their names. Is in my room, Feaster. He's a guy that you got to get ready to play, just because he's such a dynamic guy with the ball in his hands. Been very, very pleased with John Simpson. Up front, he's a guy that we got to try and get ready to play. I'm just trying to think of the other freshmen. The two tackles that were here in the spring are obviously guys that we're counting on to be depth guys. Those receivers, I think any of those 3 receivers could be guys that you could get into the rotation and have them ready to play. And this scrimmage here is going to give us an opportunity to really go back and evaluate for the last time and make those decisions.
John being in the conversation seemed to be a pretty strong statement on his behalf, given you've got a number of guys you could play. What have you seen from him really in your
You know, just with Big John, he's a big man that moves well. He's a physical guy at the point of attack. He likes to rough it up. He did a tremendous job of preparing himself before he got here this summer to mentally, be ready to absorb and handle the playbook. So just overall, first thing that jumps out is just his physical presence and his physical strength and ability to move. And the thing that's been a pleasant surprise to us is just his ability to pick up the system as quickly as he has.
Do you feel like you've seen enough to make a decision at the backup quarterback yet?